All right, so we're gonna go ahead and change the oil on this 2022 Toyota 4Runner. It's got about 22,000 miles on it, and I believe this is the 5th or 6th oil change we've done on it. And that's due to the fact that we did a 2,000-mile oil change in the very beginning. And that's just peace of mind for me. That's what I wanted. And this is the first one we're doing without the dealer. So the reason we're switching from the dealer is they are charging 110 bucks. And if you do this yourself, you spend a little more time, but you get to make sure that everything's done properly, correct oil specs, the oil you want, and nothing is over tightened as far as your skid plates. So to start with what oil we're using, we are using Mobil 1 0W20. We have 7 quarts here. The oil capacity is 6.6 quarts on this thing. And that's when you do an oil and filter change. So with this, you can use any 0W20 that you want. I prefer Mobil 1 synthetic. If you get this at Walmart, it is very cheap. You're talking $28 a jug. It's smarter just to buy 2 jugs, as I found out, as it's cheaper. Because once you buy the $28 jug, once you go to small quarts, they're about $8 a piece. So 8 or 9 bucks a piece. So just smarter to do that. As far as the oil filter, we are using the Toyota oil filter, and I picked this up from the dealer, and it is extremely cheap. It is literally $5, so it's cheaper than an auto parts store you can go to, and it comes with everything. My dealer, when I go in my oil filter, open this up real fast. It has all the gaskets in here. It has the valve to drain the oil from the oil filter. Both our gaskets for the cartridge, the oil filter, and they throw in the crush washer for the drain plug. So everything for $5, which is a good deal to me. As far as tools, you're gonna need a couple tools. So you're gonna need a 10 mil, you're gonna need a 12 millimeter. I prefer this just to make it easy to get the bolts off for the plates. And then you have your oil filter wrench, which goes on the bottom. To finish that up, you're gonna need a 14 millimeter for the drain plug, and then your 3/8 ratchet. This should be everything you need to take everything apart. Very simple, basic tools. The only thing that has special order is this right here, and I got this off Amazon. I gotta look at the price, but I will drop it in the store link below. And I'll also tell you if it's any good or not, because people have complained about one's not fitting right or stripping their thing. This one's made in the US, and it's pretty well recommended, I would say, as far as product reviews. So we'll give it a try and we'll see how that works. So under your vehicle, this is the first plate. This is where your oil drain plug is. These are 2 12 millimeters right here. So we're gonna go ahead and take those off to get access to the bottom. We have that removed. Now we have access to the drain plug. Now we're gonna go ahead and work on removing the 2 front skids, which is this right here and the bottom one. And to do this, this is just 10 millimeter bolts, and I believe there's 5 of them, and a push pin right here. So we're gonna go ahead and get that off. All right, so once you have the front skid plate off and the actual metal one on the bottom, you'll have access. Important note is once you pull this plastic one off, a lot of bugs and crap was just stored in there, so I'm gonna have to clean that up real fast. But now you have full access to do your oil change on your 4Runner. All right, so now we are draining the oil, which is almost done. By the way, the oil looks pretty good for just over 5,000 miles. I'm still gonna stick to the 5,000 mile oil changes, but we're gonna go ahead and button this back up and then work our way to the filter. All right, so now that we have drained the oil and we have put the skid plate back on, as you can see back there, we're gonna go ahead and work on the oil filter. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use our 3/8 ratchet. We're gonna take this off and we're gonna drain the oil with the little valve that comes with the oil filter kit. All right, so we have pulled out the plug, which is on the ground, and this is what comes with your oil filter. You're just gonna put this in here and you're gonna push. And then I'm gonna use 2 hands so we can actually get in there and drain the oil. All right, we have drained the oil filter. Now we're gonna use the supplied socket that we bought from Amazon, and we're pretty much just gonna slide this on. It fits really nice. And we're gonna take off the whole cartridge from the bottom. All right, we broke it loose, but man, did they have this thing on tight. Like I said, I change the oil, or get it changed at the dealer every 5,000 miles. And this sucker was just on there tight as hell. So we're gonna take it off, change out the filter and gaskets, and get this thing moving. All right, we're on to the filter housing, and we're changing the filter, and this is a frustrating thing. So as you can see, we have two different size oil filters. And the reason for that is because the dealer put the wrong oil filter in here. Jeez Louise. So we're pulling that out, and I am going to drive over there and talk to them. But yeah, they put the wrong oil filter in this thing, and we're going to swap out and put the right one in. So as you saw with the other one on, it left this exposed, whereas the new one, the correct one, sits a little bit above, and it actually fits in the housing really well. So now we're going to take these two gaskets right here, these O-rings, and we're going to swap them out. So the big one obviously goes around here, and the smaller one goes on the bottom for that drain plug for the oil filter. All right, so we have our old gaskets replaced, the bottom drain bolt back in, and our new correct filter in place, and we're going to go ahead and screw this back in. All right, so after you get your oil filter installed, you want to go ahead and take some brake cleaner or rag and just clean everything up. Don't be like the dealer and over tighten this, because it is a plastic housing, and over time it will crack. But you want to make sure that you tighten this up, and then you want to tighten also the drain plug on the bottom as well. So like I said, after that, just clean it up with some brake cleaner, and you're good to go to start filling it up with oil. Filling up the oil right now. I already dumped a 5-quart jug in there. I'm gonna dump 6, and then I'm gonna start measuring from there. Like I said, typically the capacity is 6.6 quarts. Some people have said it's taking 7 to get to the top of the full line. We'll start off with 6, and we'll add as needed. All right, so after you filled it up and started it, ran it, checked the oil, make sure it's good, you're gonna wanna come under and just verify that you have no leaks. Easy way to do it, just leave the skid plates off until you're done. Once you verify you have no leaks, you can go ahead and start bolting back up your skid plates in reverse order. All right, so now we're gonna reset the oil life on your 2022 4Runner after you have just performed an oil change. So you do not have to have the vehicle on for this. As far as running, you're not gonna put your foot on the brake to start it. You're just gonna press the start stop button twice with a little small gap in between. This will bring up all your lights on your dash. From here, you're gonna go to the trip button, which is right here in the corner, and we're gonna put it on trip A. Once it's on trip A, you turn off the ignition, and then from here, you're gonna need to hold this down and press the start stop button. So we're gonna do that real fast and then go to it. So you press it one more time, holding down that trip button. And as it says, reset an oil maintenance data. Important part with this is you have to hold it down until that whole screen clears. So then once you start it up completely, all your oil maintenance will be turned off. If you release that button prior to that whole oil life resetting, it won't reset it. It'll just basically stop and then go into the whole mode where it starts up, and it will still show that you have an oil change due. So that's how you reset your oil life on a 2022 4Runner.